A pleasant good morning to one and all. Let me thank you for coming to this very important media briefing this morning. And I want to thank you for continuing to work along with the Ministry of Tourism, Sports and Culture as we advance the agenda for the development across all three sectors. This morning, our main focus is on this year's Masters Cricket Festival, but we are using the opportunity to update on several other aspects of the development in the Ministry of Tourism, Sports and Culture. So before we get into the details of the Masters Cricket Festival, I would just like you to get the necessary information as we update you on these aspects. First of all, I'd like to look at the arrivals figures for St. Vincent and the Grenadines for the month of July. Stayover visitors, in 2016 we have 7,518 visitors. 2017 we had 8,186. That was an improvement of 8.9% in arrivals, stayover visitors by air. Same-day visitors, we actually saw an increase in those numbers. In 2016, we had 23 visitors. 2017, we had 97 visitors. That's an increase of 321.7%. Total visitor arrivals by air, 2016, 7,541. 2017, 8,283, an increase of 9.8%. By sea, arrivals by yacht, 2016 we had 2,603, 2017 a slight fall off, 2,507, that's a decrease by 3.7%, and cruise ships we had in 2016, 364, and 2017, 158. That was a decrease by 56.6%. Overall, arrivals by sea went down from 2,967 in 2016 to 2,665 in 2017. Overall, arrivals in 2016, we had 10,508. And in 2017, we had 10,948, an increase of 4.2%. And for the period January to July, in 2016, we had 139,740 visitors. And in 2017, January to July, we had 161,426. An increase for the period January to July, 15.5%. So that's, again, encouraging information as we move ahead in terms of pushing for an increase in our arrivals to the Argyle International Airport and through our seaports as well. And of course, you know that we would have celebrated our 40th anniversary of Vincy Mas in June, July. And we saw that the numbers from the USA, from Canada, two of our main source markets, those would have improved. And also we saw improvements from Antigua, Barbados, Grenada, St. Lucia, and Trinidad. And that suggests that those persons would have been attracted to St. Vincent and the Grenadines for Vincy Mas 2017 as we celebrated 40. I now move to the fact that, and I invite the media to Google MELANGE, Melange. That is a very popular magazine in Canada. And for the October edition, St. Vincent and the Grenadines was featured. And on the front page, they carried the photo of the Minister of Tourism, Sports and Culture of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And on several pages, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is featured. We have our cultural artists, the beauty of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in that magazine. So again, we are pushing to continue to promote the destination St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So again, MELANGE, Melange magazine out of Canada, and you can get the information there as we continue to have St. Vincent and the Grenadines promoted on the international front. Just want to indicate that we are very encouraged by the numbers that we are seeing in terms of our cruise arrivals this year. The cruise season will commence first boat on the 26th of October. The boat Zenith would arrive in Kingston with capacity of 1,700, and this year we would see just over 300 cruise calls to the destination, an improvement from last year, and just also an indication that not only would we have an increase in numbers, but we would also have an increase in the number of calls. We should have just over 300 calls this year by cruise liners to the destination. We should have about 9 calls from the Britannia. Of course, that is a 4,000 capacity vessel, and very shortly we should be able to confirm that there is an even larger vessel that will come to our port this year. We should have another media conference on the 31st of October. By then we'd have updated figures for the cruise calls, and we should give you some more accurate numbers. But basically, we are seeing increased interest in the destination St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and that is reflected in the number of calls to the destination. So over 300 calls and capacity of over 300,000 would visit our shores. Very encouraging news. I think we should have some work done at the cruise terminal so that we can accept even larger boats, because we have seen an increase in the size of the vessels that are now moving around the Caribbean and other regions, and as such we have to prepare ourselves accordingly. I would like to, at this time, invite CEO Beach from the Tourism Authority to share some information with you in terms of our possibilities for the upcoming season.
Pleasant good morning to everybody. Just to join into what the Minister spoke about regarding the cruise ship season, as many of you would know, and as he has stated, this is the largest cruise ship season we've ever had in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I know some people will say it is because of what has taken place up north in terms of the hurricanes to some of our sister islands, BVI, USVI, Dominica, Barbuda. Let me just point out that whether that took place or not, this was going to be our largest cruise ship season ever. Since the hurricanes unfortunately hit up north, we've received, I think, 4 more calls, and that's it. I do think we'll receive more. We have spoken to the cruise lines to let them know that we are open for business, and that if they need a place to bring their ships, they can use St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But it was always going to be a large cruise ship season, no matter what. So that being said, we also have to make sure that we give our best and put our best foot forward, from not only from the government and the tourism authority side, but every Vincentian, to make sure that those cruise lines that are visiting here because of what took place up north, that their passengers have such a good time that they want to return next year. And we just have to make sure we do what's right. All the stakeholders, not to take any visitor for granted, to always make sure and put your best foot forward and make sure we treat everybody equally, pleasantly, and that our customer service is excellent. I keep on saying that, when it comes to tourism, we're up against every other country in the world. It's not a matter of just our neighbors like Barbados and St. Lucia, but we're up against every other country in the world, so we have to be better than good. We just have to be excellent and put our best foot forward. Now, that being said, I just want to give an update in terms of flights coming in for the Christmas season. On October 22nd, Sunwing will begin its operations from Toronto into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And they will be coming in every 2 weeks to begin with, I think from October 22nd, next flight November 9th, then November 23rd, December 16th, December 23rd, January 7th, and January 14th. January 14th will be their last call to St. Vincent and the Grenadines until April. And one of the reasons for that, we actually had Sunwing coming in from October this year all the way until April next year. But once we had the contract signed with Air Canada Rouge, which starts its flights on December 14th, saw no need to continue that, having both airlines coming in at the same time. So in April, Sunwing will pick back up and go from April into August. So Carnival is basically already covered for next year coming out of Toronto, Canada. I must admit, though, that when we got Air Canada Rouge and still had Sunwing flying in for this coming winter season, this tourism season, I was a bit worried about in terms of if we would be able to maintain that and have the requisite number of people on each of these flights. I'm happy to say that from Sunwing, December 16th, we have 163 people coming in on that flight. Sunwing's planes have a capacity of 180. So December 16th, 163. This is so far. December 23rd, 175. January 7th is sold out, and January 14th, 145. Air Canada, December 14th is sold out, and December 21st, they're 80% of their seats are gone. So those are good numbers for us. I look forward to seeing even better things out of Canada, and I know there's an issue with some of the diaspora saying that we're doing only work in Canada. It's not that. With Toronto and Montreal, we have a call to action. We have Sunwing and Air Canada Rouge coming in. So when we advertise in those places, we actually have the call to action. Call Gigi Tours for Sunwing. Call Air Canada Rouge or Air Canada Vacations to make your bookings. And so that makes it a lot easier. And for example, we just branded 50 taxis in Toronto, branded for St. Vincent and the Grenadines downtown Toronto. We signed a contract for 50. I'm grateful to say that the company actually gave us 10 extra cabs and actually gave us an extra month free. So we're happy about that. We've received good response from that. We were also sponsoring the weather on Global TV in Toronto, which is one of the more popular TV stations. So we're doing that. And we have some other things to come up in Canada also. Regarding the United States, we're still working on the US. Happy to say that Caribbean Airlines, or CAL as it's known, was very happy with what they saw in the summertime. They had the 737 coming in here every Thursday. We're working with them. They've already applied for their TSA approval. It's a bit more difficult to get the approval to fly into the US than it is to fly into Canada. With the US, the airport has to become operational. TSA makes its first visit. Then it makes a second visit a few months after. Once TSA makes its final visit, and I'm subject to correction on a few of these things. Once TSA makes its final visit, it sends its approval or denial to the Department of Transportation of the United States, which can take up to 120 days for that approval to come through. So there's a bit more to get done in terms of being allowed to fly into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But as I said, CAL has already applied for their approval to fly into St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as well as American Airlines. So we're hoping for some good news sooner rather than later. We should be having some follow-on meetings with Caribbean Airlines, hopefully next week, to see what we can do to have their flights coming in at least once a week before Christmas. So we're working on that. Also, in early November, we should be going up to Toronto for Caribbean Week, which is a week in celebration of everything that is Caribbean. We want to do some special things there in terms of promoting St. Vincent and the Grenadines even more, and make sure that Air Canada Rouge sees that there's something to look forward in the future to continue working with St. Vincent and the Grenadines and move that forward. We'll meet with Sunwing as usual, Air Canada Rouge again. We'll meet with WestJet also to see what the potential is moving forward. After that, we will go down to the U.S. We should be having some meetings with some of the U.S. carriers there, and this is just a continuation to see where they're at. We've put certain things on the table for them to say yay or nay to, so we'll see where we are with that. And as I've said, over time, we continue to work on the United Kingdom. It is very important for us to have the flights coming from the UK. I will say this, that with the coming back on stream of Bucama, hopefully sooner rather than later, that will aid in our negotiations with the airlines, because it means we have those 200 plus rooms back in circulation in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And that is important to the airlines, because as important as the diaspora is to our negotiations and how often they come home if they have the direct flights, and the diaspora is very important, what the airlines are more concerned about is the leisure traveler. And most of these airlines also go through their tour operating business, so they not only want to sell flights, they also want to sell rooms through their tour operating business. So it's very important for us to have the room stock up, and as you've heard, the Honorable Prime Minister has spoken about hotel development and moving forward that. So once we even get more rooms, it will make my job a lot easier in terms of attracting the airlines. But I think we're doing fairly well so far, considering getting the 737 from Cal during the summer every Thursday wasn't easy because you still had to go through Trinidad, but I can say it was a seamless transfer once you got into Trinidad. So even if the TSA approval doesn't come through in time, we're looking to do something like that again, but hopefully that will come through in time. And that's it, Minister.
Okay, just to let you know that we have an exciting schedule for the nation for the month of November, which is Tourism Month. We'd have a media session on the 31st, Tuesday the 31st of October, where we would focus on the activities that will be unveiled for the month of November. Independence is here with us, and we have already seen a number of activities for the month of October, and we also have a full month of activities for Independence Month as we celebrate our 38th anniversary. Just to let you know, from this weekend things would really heat up, and we should have the Everything Vinci Festival being launched at the E.T. Joshua Airport. So that's this Saturday. I think it would start from noon. On Sunday, we'd have Motorsport Extravaganza. That is through the church service at the Faith Temple and that grouping. Again, Everything Vinci grouping. We'll have that church service. On Monday the 23rd, they would ask Vincentians to come out in the national colors. So it's National Colors and Social Media Day. On Tuesday the 24th, Schools Independence Rally at Victoria Park. Thursday 26th, Festival Park and Lime at the E.T. Joshua Airport site. And also we'd have the commencement of the Independence International Cricket Festival, which we'll hear the details from in a while. On Friday the 27th, we'd have our National Independence Military Parade at Victoria Park, and that will be also day one for the National Exhibition, put on, coordinated by CED, and that will be held at the Aninvest SVG at the E.T. Joshua Airport site as well. We'd also have Independence, that is, at Caliqua. And we'd also have Obstacle Trail Blazer, that's put on by the Island-wide Fitness, Island-wide Fitness, that's the name of the group. And they have 20 fun obstacles, first of its type in the region, so that is something to look forward to. And on Saturday the 28th, we'd have the test and tune for the motorsport events at E.T. Joshua Airport. There'll also be a 4x4s Heroes event, King of the Dirt, and we'd have day 2 of the national exhibition. Tuesday the 29th, we'd have day 3 of the exhibition, and we'd have drag racing at the E.T. Joshua Airport, and of course the finals of the cricket festival. Just want to mention also that we had a very successful opening of the Cumberland playing field 2 Sundays ago, and we were able to collect about 2 barrels of dry goods donated by persons who came to the event, and we also had a donation of $10,000 worth of items, all in aid of assisting our brothers and sisters in Dominica. And on Sunday the 5th of November, we'll have the opening of the Hope playing field, and we should have some exciting events as well. We'd release that information when we have all of the details, but that would also, the opportunity would be used to also gather assistance for our brothers and sisters in Dominica. So that's Sunday the 5th of November, opening of the Hope playing field. So at this time, I would like to invite Mr. Nelson Hillox, who's the chairperson of the International Independence Masters Cricket Festival, to give you the details of this very important festival, which has been organized as part of our efforts to make the Argyle International Airport work, to get persons into St. Vincent and the Grenadines as we develop our various festivals, sports, cultural festivals, and I will now invite Mr. Hillox to give the details of that festival.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Minister Cecil Mackey, Minister of Tourism, Sports and Culture, Chairman Murray Bullock of the NLA, CEO of the Tourism Authority Glen Beach, committee members of the, and I want Minister to get this part of the name of the tournament as of now, because the NLA SVG Independent Masters Cricket Tournament. So it is, I want Minister to get in the NLA part of it, because they are a very important part, sole and title sponsor of this inaugural tournament that we will be celebrating bigger and bigger as of this year. Members of the organizing committee, media, a sporting morning. This morning, I just, as Minister said, I just want to give you some information of, come January, in January, when Minister sat down to plan with us for the development of sports for 2017, one of the directives they give to the ministry, which is tourism, Ministry of Tourism, Sports and Culture, and in particular the Division of Sports and the National Sports Council, is the hosting of this tournament as a facet of making Argyle work. So we immediately set a committee into work and we start to do our work. We invite all the important stakeholders to be a part of this committee, and we were meeting. Immediately we start to scan our environment, and we sent out letters throughout to Europe, we sent to Canada, we sent throughout the Caribbean, we sent to New York, and so forth. But being the first year, and there's an important tournament that is taking place around the same time with us, a tournament that has its brand and had its name, so we had to compete with things like those. The Michael Holding Masters Tournament, some people had already committed to there, but we continue to press, and we are fortunate that in this tournament this year, for the first year, we are going to have 10 teams participating in the NLA SVG Independence International Masters Cricket Festival. So we are going to have 10 teams. Up to Monday, we had Grenada confirmed to be here because they had interest. They were scheduled up to Monday, but they have withdrawn. So far, and I want to acknowledge a member of the New York Masters team, Mr. Cosmos Bailey, in the back there. So he's already here. His team will be coming in very soon. So we have the New York Masters. We have 3 teams from Trinidad. 4 teams that initially showed some interest. And I was in Trinidad for the last 4 or 5 weeks or so, and one of that team was some set of professionals. And I was trying my best still to get them to come. But they were intimidated by the other Trinidad teams. Because these teams are some people in my age group and so, they're doctors and lawyers and all these things. They're really fun lovers, and their thing was to come to have fun. But when they realized that one of the team in Trinidad will be having 10 former national players, they say no. And they basically kind of get cold feet. But 3 teams will be coming out of Trinidad, apart from New York Masters, and then the other teams will come from, we also have Musty Company bringing a team, and then the other teams will come from here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We were looking for 12 teams minimum, but at least we have 10, and we are happy for that, and we are set and we are ready to go. So come 26, we are going to start the NLA SVG Independent International Masters Cricket Tournament. We are having the prelims basically at 3 venues. Most will be played at Parkhead and Cumberland. That's starting on the 26th. So big opening, the big games will be at the 3 venues on that day. And after that, the semi-finals, so we'll have preliminary games on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The teams will be played in 2 groups of 5, but we have a seeding system because of 3 days. So each team, due to the seeding system, each team will play 3 games. And then the top 2 teams in each group will go on to play semi-finals on Sunday morning, which will be at the Sion Hill playing field and at Arnesvale 1. And then in the afternoon, we are going to have the big finals at the Arnesvale 1 playing field. So, and for this year, we have waived, the sponsors had allowed us to waive registration fees and all those things, and we will be providing other transportation and other things to the teams to and from their venue. They will be responsible for their accommodation and so forth. But apart from that, the winner of this NLA SVG Independent International Masters Cricket Tournament 2017 will be walking away with $3,500 US. And the person who that team beat in the finals will be walking away with $2,000 US. And the 2 unfortunate teams in the semi-finals who didn't get to go on, they will be walking away with $500 US plus other initiatives and incentives. We have to make this in partnership with the NLA, who we are happy to have on board, and to have as our title sponsors. We are happy to have them together, the NLA and the Ministry of Tourism, and in particular sports here. We are hoping to make this event a bigger event, and as it will go from strength to strength. So basically, I will stay there for now and take any questions if you have any. Thank you very much.
You mentioned that Canada dropped out.
And to say to that, also Canada, they had 2 teams on schedule to come, but they also, at the last minute, they could not have make it. Because we were looking mainly for more international teams. Originally, we were looking for 2 local teams, they are, the winners of Northeast. Northeast is the present winner of our Masters tournament. And then Police was the winner before, the Royal SVG Police Force. Those were our plans with about 10 other national. But Canada, we had good interest from inception. And up to the end, Canada has, I say, Grenada. And they couldn't make it, and we hope, we are still working on having them being with us next year, plus one of the Trinidad teams. So that's it for now.
Okay, you heard it from Coordinator Hillox that the tournament will be sponsored, title sponsors, the National Lotteries Authority. So it will be the National Lotteries Authority Independence International Cricket Festival. And with us this morning, we have the chairman of the Board of Directors of the National Lotteries Authority. So we now invite Chairman Bullock to address you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Director of Tourism, Mr. Glenn Beach. Director of Sport in the Ministry of Sport, Mr. Hillocks. Members of the media, I'm especially pleased to see such a wonderful turnout by our friends in the media, and we at the National Lottery are very good friends in the media. And I want to thank you for your and the enthusiasm with which you have covered National Lottery's initiatives over the years. You're an important partner, as we strive for national development. I want to thank you very much. The National Lottery is extremely happy to be title sponsor for this tournament. We salute the Minister for his initiative as he tries to put Argyle International on the map, so to speak. This, to me, is a very important initiative, and that is why the National Lottery was very quick in its response in sponsoring this tournament. However, Mr. Hillocks has, during his address, has made two observations that are of concern to me. And they are one, that this tournament is clashing with a major tournament. We know who suffers when there is clash. And some years ago, many years ago, the people who were in authority at that time made the wise decision to shift Vincy Mas from the time January, February to its current time of June, July. And we have seen such a great expansion in Vincy Mas as a result of that, because we are no longer handicapped by trying to compete with Trinidad Carnival. So we need to maybe pay some attention to the date and see if it would not make sense to shift from the current time slot to a time that it does not compete with an established regional Masters tournament. And the other piece of information that was revealed was that some teams were interested in participating, but they were intimidated by the heavy hitters in some of the teams. So it begs the question, maybe we should also consider a national rum goat cricket festival. And I want you to understand the terminology carefully. National rum goat, because we know about rum matches and we know about goat matches. And this is a combination of rum match and goat matches. And we'll be able to attract the professionals who come with deep pockets and who are willing to spend money. And hopefully one of the main objectives of this tournament is to have people come to St. Vincent, enjoy our hospitality, and leave a bundle of cash when they go. So, and it is important that we attract those persons, the professionals who have spending power. But that does not deter from the fact that the lottery is committed to this tournament. We have indicated that our sponsorship would amount to 50,000 EC dollars in cash, and Also, we would provide branded balls, NLA branded balls, to be used in the tournament. We have allocated time slots on the various media that we currently have contracted for the promotion of this tournament. We would provide tents, chairs, etc. In addition to that, the Minister alluded to the recently opened Cumberland Plainfield, sorry, and that would be one of the main venues for the matches, along with Park Hill. Those are two of the recently developed facilities by the National Lottery on our $6.5 million sporting facility development program, which concluded last year. So that contribution is included in the package. That is the use of those facilities. In addition to that, we have already disbursed our contribution to the National Independence Celebrations Committee. I think that amount to some $30,000. So we are committed to the national development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we will continue to strive to do that. I want to take this opportunity to thank our many customers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines for their continued support, their unwavering support of the National Lottery. We appreciate their business, we appreciate their commitment, and we'll strive even harder to provide the kind of products and services that they would enjoy participating in. I want also to commend the management and staff of the National Lotteries for the extremely hard work that they continue to do. They are serving this country in an incalculable manner. They are very committed, and I applaud them, along with the members of my board who work very steadfastly in trying to promote the National Lottery and by extension the development of our nation. I wish this tournament tremendous success. I hope it sends a signal to those teams who couldn't participate for one reason or the other, that they miss something great and important, and that they would endeavor to participate next year when there is the next edition of the NLA International Masters Cricket Tournament. Thank you very much.
Now open the floor for questions.
Such a great press conference of questions.
Yes.
I have two questions, one for the Minister and one for Mr. Beach. You said we have about 300 cars this year for ships. Only 4 of them have been as a result of the winter, and we are expecting this year to be large. How does the Ministry plans to prepare the terminal in time to meet these cars?
Okay, well, you'd ask both of them one time? You'd ask the other one time? Or that's both of them? Okay, so you could ask the other one. Yes.
Okay, so the UK flights that you are marketing to for the ANA, you said that you will, in order to best negotiate, you also have to get the hotels there, and you mentioned Bokumana. So my question is, are you concerned about how you are going to now negotiate with getting UK flights to St. Vincent after the Bokumana scandal? How do you anticipate what has transpired with Bokumana to affect your negotiation to getting UK flights here? Thank you.
Okay. Right. Relative to the cruise facility, that is owned and operated by the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Port Authority. I know that they have quite a number of plans for upgrading the facility. In fact, they've started a number of them already, including changing of the lights, the ambience over there. They're going to make even better. They're working along with the Taxi Association to improve the service that they deliver over there. We are doing some stuff as well on both the entry point at the port and the entry point into capital city Kingston. So we're going to improve the ambience as you come into the gateway to the city as well, so that persons, as they come off the ship, they will feel even more welcomed by the services provided, taxi and the Port Authority, and also the various shops that exist over there, and also as they come around that NIS to go into capital city Kingston. And I also mentioned that very shortly we should see dredging commence to make the area deeper so that the larger ships can come in comfortably at the cruise terminal. So those are some of the things that will be done, and I know that working along with immigration and customs, that they will have improvements as well in those services, so that persons can be serviced even quicker than they were before, and also come through the terminal even quicker than they used to before. So all of those are being addressed as we speak.
Thanks, Minister. First of all, I don't think there's a scandal with Bukama. Bukama has its issues, just as many other properties around the world have had their issues. I think the present president of the United States has filed for bankruptcy 3 times. I think all 3 times had to do with properties that he owned. And I've said this before in press conferences before or interviews. The UK-owned airlines operate differently from those in North America. The UK ones depend a lot on their tour operations, basically. In terms of, for example, Virgin Atlantic does not fly into a destination without the go-ahead from Virgin Holidays. That's just the way it is. And as I said before, a lot of it has to deal with, it's not just about selling the flights, it's about selling rooms and selling the packages that go along with it. You know, in all three of the ABC countries, America, Britain, and Canada, rooms play a part in the negotiations because they want to make sure if they're bringing a certain number of seats that we have the rooms to fill those seats. And that's so it's not only about the diaspora, as I said before, a lot of it has to do with the leisure traveler. Bukama, for a destination like St. Vincent and the Grenadines, when you took away over 200 keys from our destination, we have approximately, I would say, 2,200 rooms. Taking away over 200 rooms is significant for a destination like ours. So that being said, it's going to affect the way a lot of the airlines look at us. With Bukama coming back on stream, hopefully sooner rather than later, it's going to have a positive effect in the way we negotiate and how we do business with them.
Questions?
Good morning. Professor Henry Scott Carey. My apologies for being late, but I couldn't ask the opportunity back. Listening to you on a number of issues. Question 1. You mentioned dredging at the terminal, but is dredging will be able to solve the problem of having larger cruise ships being able to dock, or there is need for reinforcing the jetty? Question 2. The Veterans Cricket Tournament, what legacy will it leave for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and by extension, the OECS region, when it is difficult to get information from organizations hosting sporting events in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? The chief culprit amongst them the organizer of school games. What legacy will the Veterans Tournament leave for St. Vincent and the Grenadines with the confidence that there will be a paradigm shift in how sporting events will be managed?
Okay, I don't think it didn't come by chance that tourism, sports and culture has been placed under one heading, one umbrella. And from the time I became Minister of Tourism, Sports and Culture 5 years ago, I identified the need for us to fill the months of the year with sporting activity, with cultural activity, with tourism-related activity. And in doing so, we, as a ministry, identified different events that we can put on to enhance all three sectors. And as I mentioned earlier on, there's a committee that was set up by Cabinet called the Make Argyle International Airport Work. And in our discussion at that level, we identified the possibility of putting on the International Masters Cricket Festival to get persons to the destination as we enhance the sporting products that we have here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As you heard earlier, there was interest from about 10 teams initially from out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Some of them fell off. And I'm confident that next year the numbers will grow. So first and foremost, the idea of having the Masters Cricket Festival, I'm sure is going to continue to be an attractive proposition, and that we'll have more teams coming from the region. And in doing so, we are developing our festivals that we have here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In this case, it's a cricket festival, and we intend to make this event an annual one, so I suspect it's going to be around for a long time. Locally, we have about 16 Masters cricket teams. All of them have been anxious to be a part of this tournament, but of course we can't facilitate all of them. The idea is to get teams coming from overseas to participate in this competition so that we'll grow it as a festival. We are working very closely with different stakeholders. The organizing committee of this tournament has a pretty widespread and all aspects of the tournament is being coordinated by a separate subcommittee, and therefore we want to ensure that all things are organized in a professional way. One of the things that we are doing is partnering with the Cricket Association, because I know you have always made the point that availability of scores and data and statistics are very important for persons in the media who want to report on these events, not even by the day, but by the ball. And therefore, we'd have the Cricket Association on board assisting us. We'd have the sports department assisting us in providing that data ball by ball, literally. So I think that we are ensuring that we get this competition right from the beginning, and therefore I'm sure that you'll be happy to also be a partner to provide that information, not only to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but to the outer world. Where the port facility is concerned, I mentioned that more and more we are seeing larger and larger vessels plying the Caribbean and other parts of the world, and therefore we must be able to receive these vessels. And the request was made years ago for us to ensure that these vessels can dock comfortably. Last year, for example, we had to do some adjustments to be able to facilitate the Britannia, which comes with 4,000 passengers and about 1,700 crew. So we don't have a choice in the matter. We must be able to facilitate these larger vessels. And that's why we are taking these initiatives to ensure that they can come in comfortably and dock, but also that we have an even greater welcoming atmosphere for the passengers and the crew as they come off ship.
And in terms of security, there's an absence of boots on the ground. By that I mean, you walk the streets, you sit at a bar, for example, Fisher's Bar in downtown Kingston, and you wouldn't see a police officer pass by for the whole day. I'm not speaking from AC. You have a tourist season and you look at an increased number of visitors. You will always have to use that phrase, the madman who decide to snatch a ring or snatch a chain or snatch a bag. One incident alone would throw your whole tourism product off the whack. Have you had discussions with the relevant agencies to at least ensure that there are boots on the ground to send a message to the criminal element that we are keeping an eye on you and we are protecting our investment, one of which is the tourism industry? Have you had such discussions?
We saw that very important from the onset of organizing this tournament, and in fact we have representation on the organizing committee at the very highest level from the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force. So they are represented on the committee, and the committee would have discussed those aspects. But I take the point that you're making in terms of presence in Kingston as being important as well. So that will be taken on board.
Michael Charles, Police Master Secretary. Question for Mr. Johnson. Could you cover the games, including the finals?
Well, the tournament starts on Thursday, the 26th of October. So that's the first day for the prelims. And those will be at all 3 days will be at all the 3 venues. And the fixture will be submitted. You'll get your fixture soon. And then on Friday, Independence Day, is the second day of the preliminaries. And then Saturday, the 28th, will be the third day of the prelims. And then on the Sunday morning, 9:30, the 2 semifinals will take place at Sion Hill, one at Sion Hill, and the other at the Arnersville 1 playing field. And then from 2 o'clock, the grand finals at the Arnersville playing field. And then after, we have a closing ceremony. Yeah. And cocktails and party. And it's a festival, so don't forget, I want you to remember, at the venues, you will have enough entertainment. You will have your DJs, you will have your Rum Goat Festival according to the chairman. But so come out and have fun. It's not just cricket and cricket. And I am reliably informed that I have at least 4 persons from Trinidad. Young ladies will be coming up. They already called trying to get accommodation. I know people will be following the Trinidad team. And one of the Trinidad team will be coming with, one of the team has registered 25 persons coming, and the other has registered about 21. So it will be a big festival, and we're going to make it work. The NLA SVG Independent Masters Cricket Tournament.
I should mention that there will be a welcome cocktail organized for the team, and also we'd have a little fete, to put it that way, during the course of the 4 days that the teams will be here. So the teams will be well entertained. The idea is to not only have them here for this year, but to ensure that they go back and become ambassadors for this tournament. So they will spread the word in their countries and also assist in promoting the festival, so that next year we'll easily double the numbers. Questions? Okay, if not, let me. Okay.
Are there international airport? An international airport will not be profitable or will not generate the activity a country needs unless there are hotel rooms, and maybe the director of tourism can come in. It is sad that despite the many pleased by the government, that there has been a reluctance by local investors to build hotels. Since that is so, what is the government doing to accelerate the interest by foreign investors in ensuring that there are sufficient hotel rooms which will attract airlines to come in?
It's not that the hotels are going to attract the airlines to come in, you know. I said it would make my job easier. Before said we as if I'm still a minister, before the government started Argyle International Airport, it was always the chicken and egg situation. Investors want to come, but they want to know.
It is.
Yeah, investors want to come in, but they want to know, well, how am I going to get my guests here? On a 52-seater at that time, I don't even think it was a 52, it was a 42-seater with the Liat-8s. And then say, what's the sense of building an airport? Because there's no place for people to stay. You don't have enough room capacity. You don't have enough keys. Government took it upon themselves to build AIA. So far, we have Sunwing, we have Air Canada Rouge coming in. We have another contract signed by a major airline, but they're having some hiccups and they have to deal with certain things before we can announce that. You have Easy Sky coming in from Cuba directly into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So much so that St. Vincent and the Grenadines has now become a hub where you have people coming from the other islands to catch the direct flight from here to Cuba. And then you have the Cubans coming in and doing their shopping. I think a lot of the businesses in Kingston are happy because of that. You have the negotiations taking place. But what you have is since February 14th this year, a lot more interest from investors who are looking at the possibilities of investing in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, something that was basically unheard of before. Bukama came in here because we were constructing AIA. We have Hilton, the owners of Hilton and some of the other major brands actually interested in St. Vincent and the Grenadines because the AIA is there. I wish it was as simple as just saying, you know what, we want you to build a hotel, and they come in and they do that. But it's not that simple. But I can tell you there's an aggressive, very aggressive push by the government and Invest SVG and other stakeholders to get those investors in here. Now, you spoke about local businessmen and women building hotels here. I mean, there's certain things I would like to do. I would like to get into the hotel business, but sometimes you just don't have the finances. And so that is why government is pushing it where it should be a private public sector partnership to get it going, because the government realizes that it's not that easy. But I can say with these international flights coming in and the potential for a lot more, there is going to be even more interest in St. Vincent and the Grenadines than there already has been. So we have the interest and there's an aggressive push, but things don't happen overnight.
How many applications for casino licenses has the government received? If the government has received any, and is the government looking at granting casino licenses?
I wouldn't know that. I know the law states that once, I think it is, you have you construct a hotel of at least 99 rooms, you're automatically guaranteed a casino license. I think so. Yeah, it's either 99 or 100 rooms. I can't remember which one. But I would not know how many.
Would the minister know if the government has received any applications for casino licenses?
Well, Invest SVG doesn't fall under the minister, so I don't think he would know that either.
But those applications
Yeah, they have to be processed. They'll have to be processed. But we know that, for example, there's a facility that has commenced at Mount Wayne Peters Hope. So that is on the way. And as the CEO indicated, there is other interests. And at the same time, we have been issuing several expansion orders for the existing facilities here. So they're adding on rooms and they're enhancing the facilities that they have.
I mean, and if I can just add to that, look at Plantation House in Beckway, which is owned by Mr. Kelly Glass. That is completed, lovely facility now. The international group, I think, of ICW, I might be off on the letters a bit, they're taking over. They have boutique hotels all over the world. They've made it clear how much they want to work with us in terms of marketing and how happy they are to see Argyle International Airport completed and up and running. You know, funny enough, just to give a story, I actually had to go out to Argyle International, I think it was Tuesday. And in driving around to leave, I was with my kids and so on, I looked at the airport, and I'm still in shock by the airport that we've completed it. And I think we've come to a point now, February 14th wasn't so long ago, that we're now taking the airport a bit for granted. It's a huge accomplishment here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and many people may not remember what Argyle actually looked like. I grew up out there, so I remember it, before that airport was completed. And you right now in St. Vincent and the Grenadines have the second longest runway in CARICOM. It's a huge, huge achievement.
Okay, if no other questions, let me thank the media for being here with us. Let me thank the representatives of the various teams and also the persons drawn from the various ministries. So thank you very much, and we hope that you take this information out to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the rest of the world.